Hello there and welcome back to the channel. This is Mel's Gaming here with another The Hunter Call of the Wild video. Now today's video is going to be a selection of highlight clips from the past couple of days, starting off here with a couple of diamond pheasants that I have taken off of Rancho Del Arroyo multiplayer, and basically these are going to be the only animals in this video that were shot with a gun. I have been basically trying to bow hunt a lot of the trophies that I've come across recently, and I've had so much fun. But with these guys being in multiplayer, I didn't want to try and even get these out of the air with a bow because, of course, pheasants do need to be shot out of the air in order to get their full score. So these are the only ones that are going to not be shot with the bow in this entire video. So I thought I'd just start off with these clips and then we'll move on into the bow hunting, which is something I have been enjoying massively over the past couple of days. So much so that I think I'm going to keep the bow in my loadout for taking down more special trophies, because it has been just so much fun learning how to use the bow in this game. And yeah, if I could have taken these guys with a bow off the ground, I totally would have done. However, you do have to shoot diamond pheasants in the air if you want to get the diamond out of them. And of course, I would like to get the diamond out of these guys and then have them in the trophy lodge. I did have in my head that if I came across a rare one that wasn't any decent score, probably would only make silver or something like that, that I would take it with the bow off the ground or maybe try and get it in the air. But again, this is multiplayer. You can, you can try and get one out of the air with a bow. I'm sure it's possible. I've seen people do it with ducks and geese, but I just wouldn't really want to risk that in multiplayer where there is just a chance at any moment that you get kicked or you disconnect and you lose that trophy. But just two beautiful diamond pheasants to start off this video. By the way, if you are struggling to hunt pheasants, as I've heard a lot of people are struggling to hunt them at the minute, please leave any questions you have down in the comments. I will try to answer them. I also do have a pheasant hunting guide that shows how I hunt these guys, which I will link in the description. So that was another thing why I thought that I would start off with these guys, just to mention that, as with Rancho now being on console, there's a lot more people having access to the pheasants, so some of those issues are cropping up. But now let's move on to the bow hunting part of this video. So the first animal that I am going to take with a bow is this level 3 Rio Grande turkey. Perhaps not the most exciting animal, but it's the first bird I have ever shot with a bow. And that was just really cool, and the way he flew over and then collapsed, like, in mid-air, I just thought that was a really cool little introduction to the start of the bow hunting part of this video. You can see him using the tracer arrows there, and this did give me an idea a little bit with my shot placement. That shot was a little bit lower than I wanted it to be on this bird, but of course with turkeys it doesn't matter where you hit them. As long as you hit them, you will get the diamond score out of them. So that's just a nice little practice with the bow. Now, the next animal I'm going to take with the bow is this guy right here. That is a melanistic axis deer buck. Only a level 2, but it's a melanistic buck, so I definitely wanted to try and get him. Now, I tried to stalk this guy for ages. I stalked right into his zone, and then the whole lot of them spooked. And it wasn't because of me, it was because of a puma. So what ended up happening is they completely fled from their zone. I tried to stalk into them again as they were coming back to their zone, so I tried to ambush them on their way back, and unfortunately the puma was still running around, and it again completely ruined the stalk I had put onto this axis deer buck. So I was chasing this little guy around for a lot longer than I was actually intending to. But eventually I got into this little area where there was a decent bit of cover and then an open area between me and him. Now, axis deer aren't the most smart animals, and especially being a level 2, he's not going to have the highest senses. Like, he's not going to be as aware as, say, a level 9 red deer. So I managed to just run the last few meters there, make him go alert and stop, and that meant that I got a perfect shot on him before he got to take off, and he dropped literally only a couple of meters from where I shot him. A really nice looking little axis deer buck for his size, and you can see the arrow there going through his vitals. but I'm really impressed with how nice this looks for such a small buck. And of course he is just a silver and there's no chance of this guy making gold, but I did tax him purely because I really like how even his antlers are. It is a shame that at the minute the axis deer, their antlers don't seem to sit quite right on their heads, but a really beautiful little animal, and again, quite a good one to practice using the bow on, because if I had messed it up, it would have only been a bronze. But I managed to get a really good shot on him, and it was a front-on shot, which is not what I wanted to go for, but I was really pleased with that. And considering the whole Puma thing that had been happening, I was just so pleased to get him down. Now, the next animal is here on Quattro Calenus, and again, it is a rare. You may have just seen it for a split second on the left-hand side of the screen, and I spotted the white just as it was running away. I knew I'd seen something that looked more white than the other animals running away, because of course they do have the white rump, these Pheasant ibex, and I always have to say it, with these guys, I'm not 100% sure how you're supposed to pronounce it, but Pheasant is the best I can do, but you guys can see the name of them on the screen, but that is an albino female. And it may just be a female, but they look cool. I like the rare ibex, and when Quattro came out, I know that they were far too common. Same as rare mouflon, they were literally everywhere. I had so many on Xbox when Quattro came out, but these days, I look over a lot of ibex and a lot of mouflon, and I very rarely see rares. So I thought that this would be another nice one to actually get in very close to and take with the bow. Again, because it is a female, I felt like I could push it to get really close, because anything that's like level 1 is going to be more dumb than, say, a level 9. Its senses aren't as high, you can get a lot closer and get away with a lot more. That's why they are a level 1 trivial, because it is trivial to get close to them, it's not exceedingly hard. That's kind of how, to me, the level system, that's what that kind of means in that way. But you can see I managed to get her to get pretty close, and then I made her go alert, led down just so that she didn't go alarmed too quickly and flee, stood back up and absolutely smoked her with the bow. Just absolutely dropped her. Perfect shot, exactly what I wanted. Double lung, liver and stomach. Beautiful female albino Pheasant ibex. Just such a cool looking animal. And again, it may just be a female, but I really like how this looks, so it will probably go in a secondary trophy lodge. I do have a male one in a trophy lodge as well, only a very small level 3, but I'll find somewhere for this to go. I really, really like these guys. Now, the next animal is here on Parque Fernando, and honestly, it is one of the coolest animals I could have found while I was doing this bow hunting. I am so pleased that I actually managed to take this down with the bow. It is a bit more of a difficult animal to get close to than the previous clips. This is a albino mythical Puma, and that is just gorgeous. I absolutely love the rare Puma and mountain lion. They just look so cool. And you can see there he just started to drink. So what I did was I snuck in quite close to his zone and then tucked myself away in this bush. Now, I am going to talk about this while this cat is coming in. You'll notice I am completely hidden in this bush. There is just no line in that box. There's no white line to indicate, or like a white dot to indicate that I am very visible. And the reason that I can do this is because I have a skill called improvised blind. And I have been asked a lot about this recently, how do I get so close to these animals? I fully recommend having the improvised blind skill. I love it so much because you can get closer to animals like this. And you can see this guy even sniffing the air. What I did do was I put some scent eliminator on, something I very rarely use. But for an animal that has these heightened senses, an 8 mythical Puma, that is going to have a fairly good detection, detection rate, I guess, of actually spotting you. Because I was at one point slightly unhidden by this bush, I was too far forward, and there was just the thin white line in the middle of that box there. And he spotted me from like 70 or 80 meters and was going alert. And I realised that I really needed to back up, get myself completely hidden in this bush before he was going to even contemplate coming close. Which, is really cool to see that mechanic in game of these bigger animals being more cautious. I really like that because it feels like more of a challenge to actually get them to come close. And I was here for a good 20 minutes calling this guy in, trying to get it right before he actually made this sort of final approach. He was going backwards and forwards and becoming alert and then not alert because I was just slightly too far out of this bush. It was really cool and a bit of a learning curve because I don't normally get this close to these animals. I normally do take them from like 150 meters with the M1 or any other rifle I'm using. So getting close to them with the bow is just such a fun experience. And like I said, I've enjoyed it so much that I'm probably going to do it more. So if I come across, say, a mythical melanistic mountain lion or puma, maybe I'll try and bow hunt that. And I'd like to try and get a diamond one as well with the bow. That would be really, really cool. Getting diamonds with the bow is something I want to try and do more, just to diversify my skills a little bit, because I'm such a rifle user in this game. I normally only use rifles, so it's really fun to try something different. And it is really cool to actually get these animals so close. I wanted to try and get this guy pretty much as close as I dared before I was going to make a shot at him with the bow. And as he got really close here, I started thinking about actually taking a shot. But he was completely front on, and I didn't really want to risk a front on shot because I wanted to get the full score out of this guy. So I looked at him for a minute through the bow sight, and I actually really like the single pin sight for this bow. I think it's really, really nice. I am using the Razorback bow as well, I should say, for all of these clips. I really like the Razorback. But then this guy gave me this beautiful opportunity where he just went broadside and then stopped just beside this bush, which meant that I could get just a really good shot on him. Now, I held that shot just slightly a little touch back a little bit because of the wind direction, so I didn't want it to go too far forward. And that was just right. I held it just right, and he did not go very far with that shot before he actually fell over. Absolutely stunning looking cat. The albinos and the melanistics for these guys, they just look beautiful. And you can see double lung shot there at 20.55 meters. That is just awesome. And he's a 38.30, so a decent size mythical, and just a gorgeous, gorgeous cat, and one that I am so thrilled that I actually managed to get with the bow for this video. Honestly, really, really cool, and definitely something I want to try and do again. Now, I did mention that I wanted to try and get some diamonds with the bow. The turkey I don't really count because you don't have to make that vital hit. So I ended up coming to a Quattro Calinas server and started looking around for some ibex, hoping I could find some level 5s. And I found a level 5 Basiti ibex. Again, the pronunciation, not sure if that's correct for these guys, but yeah, a level 5. And as I was sneaking around, there wasn't just one level 5. There was two level 5s stood right next to each other. Now, this is a thing that does happen with the ibex. You will sometimes get two level 5s just like this, but it never stops looking cool to see two diamond potential animals just stood next to each other. Now, what ended up happening is, as I moved in, they did spook because they just got a little bit too close to the bush that I was in as I was trying to move in on them. So what happened was they spooked off, so I moved into the middle of their zone, hid in a bush, and waited for them to come back. They will come back to their zones most of the time, and these guys did exactly what I was hoping they would do and came back to their zones. But you can see this one is the bigger one of the two, with the estimate going up to 203, and he was coming in really well. You can see again I'm hidden fully in this bush, and as he sort of closed the distance, I knew I was going to be right zeroed for 20 meters. And for a split second I thought that the other one in the background here looked like big enough to be a level 5, but looking at it through the sight I knew it wasn't. And I just got myself perfectly comfortable there and then took that shot on this level 5. and as you can see, he dropped on the spot, so I knew I'd made a good shot, could see the vital blood, and these guys look really impressive on the ground, but I thought I could see movement over here, and there was a couple of females already coming back by the time I actually came out of that bush, but it wasn't the other level 5, unfortunately. But this guy did make diamond at 197.30, so a decent sized one. You can see just a perfect double long shot at actually what was only 13 meters. That is a really close shot, but that was really cool. But now the challenge was to get the second one to come back to his zone and shoot him as well. In the meantime, I had to go back and change the time because the other level 5 wouldn't come back, and on my way back over to the zone, I spotted a level 5 mouflon. So I moved in and took a shot on that with the bow, and unfortunately that guy was a troll. But by the time I got over to this zone, the time was right again and they all were moving back into their zones. This level 5 I tried to stalk into, again it was too close to the bush that I chose, spooked off, but it meant that eventually he was going to come back. And as he came back, he was actually calm, which I don't know why he was calm, it could have just been multiplayer being weird. But I actually managed to drop him while he was walking. As soon as he came around that bush, I knew that this was the one because it was the grey fur type and just those horns. And this guy actually just made 200, which is a really, really nice size diamond ibex. Really happy with that. Shot was maybe a touch forward, but I would rather have given it that lead than not because, you know, arrows are going to move a bit slower than bullets. So I just held it that little bit far forward, but it was a good enough shot to drop him on the spot at only 12.4 meters, so a very close one again. And I just really loved that, to get 2 diamond ibex from the same herd, both with the bow. That was so cool to do. One of the coolest things I've done in a long time in this game. And to finish off, again, an incredibly rare animal. I have shown one of these off in a video before, but I couldn't resist adding this again as one of the top animals in this video that I got to take with the bow. As you can probably see quickly there on the screen, I was tracking a melanistic male peccary yet again on Rancho del Arroyo. And these guys are extremely rare. Make no mistake, the fact that I have got 2, I am extremely lucky. Still looking for an albino. I just can't seem to catch a break with finding an albino, but melanistics, I now have 2 males, which looks awesome as a the fighting multi-mount that came with Rancho, the hot javelinas. It looks amazing with these 2 melanistic males fighting. For them both to have been male as well is just awesome. But picked up this guy's track and eventually found his drink zone, and you can see just how close he came. I actually spooked them out as I came in because of the direction that I came into this lake. Well, it's a bit more of a pond than a lake, but I waited and they came back. And I'd lined up on this guy and he moved just a bit, but he was quartering too and it was so close I knew I could make that shot and I dropped him. Now, the funny thing is, there was a couple of the others that actually went aggressive. He went aggressive for a split second as he died. I managed to drop the one that was next to him that was aggressive, and then there was a couple of others that decided they were going to charge me, which is why I'm looking around here. And they charged me, and then right as they got close enough, they turned and fled, which was just so funny. I love the peccary so much. I say this every time, but they're just so small and so full of character. I think they're absolutely fantastic little animals. But you can see this guy is just beautifully melanistic. No collar on them at all when they are melanistic, so that's a really distinctive feature of the melanistic peccaries. But yeah, just jet black. And how cool does that look? Beautiful lung shot there and liver and stomach shot. Literally couldn't have asked for anything better. Now that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it and thank you so much for watching. Definitely going to look at using the bow more for future videos, so let me know what you think of that down in the comments. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.